Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jill, otherwise known as the Enlightened Target, and this channel is devoted to narcissistic abuse, awareness and recovery, parental alienation, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and anything and everything associated with those three main topics. In today's video, I'm going to try and explain why you question and doubt yourself during or after a relationship with a pathological narcissist. Many times it feels as if we can't think straight. We feel as if there is a fog that surrounds us. Sometimes we even question our own sanity. So many of my coaching clients struggle with truly knowing if what they have been subjected to is actually abuse and if their abuser is actually a narcissist. I struggled with this myself for a very long time. A victim will usually go back and forth between feeling confident that this did happen to really doubting yourself. But you have this gnawing uncertainty about the reality, about what actually happened in the relationship, and if it was as bad as you think it is. So today I'm going to try and explain why and how psychological abuse has this effect on the victim. Narcissistic abuse at its core is psychological abuse. It's designed to rob you of your own perceptions, thoughts, beliefs, and it's there to erode your own judgments and your beliefs about yourself and who you are. The narcissist works very hard at getting you to believe exactly what he or she wants you to believe. Psychological abuse is a slow and consistent process of brainwashing that results from the abuse. It's important to understand this took a long time to accomplish. So unraveling the brainwashing is going to take time, effort, and commitment. This did not happen to you overnight. It is not going to be solved overnight either. If you're new to my channel, I would like to take a moment and welcome you and invite you to please subscribe and be sure and hit that notification bell because I put out new videos every week. Also, if you are interested in private one-on-one narcissistic abuse recovery coaching with me, please visit my website or send me an email. Both are linked in the description below. One of the most important things to understand is that our environment and the people that we surround ourselves with influence us, especially if we are being exposed to this as children. When we are living in a home where a psychological abuser resides, which all narcissistic abusers are psychological and mental abusers, it has a profound effect on us. Even though we are sane and rational people, it still has a profound effect on us and our ability to discern what is actually going on. The influence of the psychological abuser eventually penetrates our own mind, poisoning our perceptions and confusing reality. You eventually learn how to exist as a smaller version of yourself. One of the biggest problems victims encounter is that their own perceptions and beliefs have been tampered with and manipulated. But because we have been subjected to this slowly and skillfully, and because this happens over a long period of time, we are unaware that we have been subjected to this and that it has a significant effect on our ability to think clearly. So today I am going to try and shed some light on the most powerful yet subtle ways you have been psychologically compromised and possibly even feel crazy or extremely confused. Psychological abuse is hidden, disguised and curtained behind what we believe is love and concern. Psychological abusers portray themselves as someone who has our best interest at heart. Most times we are completely unaware that this person is trying to manipulate us in the most violating ways. They present things to us in such a way that leads us to believe if we would just conform to their beliefs and their infinite wisdom, we would be in a much better position in life. It's not uncommon for us to even feel that we are lucky to have the privilege of their perspectives, as they simply just know more than we do. These people are so proficient at their craft, and they can abuse us right under our noses for years on end without us ever knowing what's going on. And the result is that this wears us down slowly. We adopt more and more of their lies and gaslighting as true and factual. Because of this, making even the smallest decisions can be incredibly difficult without the abuser's input. On top of all of this, being exposed to the extremes and all forms of narcissistic abuse will produce complex trauma or Cptsd in the victim to one degree or the other. Narcissistic abuse and Cptsd go hand in hand. So the trauma we are being exposed to on a daily basis, year after year, contributes significantly to our confusion and self-doubt. The anxiety, depression, toxic shame, fear, obligation, and guilt that manifest in people who develop Cptsd severely complicates our ability to think clearly. We are overwhelmed with the never-ending demands, beliefs, and influence of the narcissist, which results in us becoming mentally exhausted. It eventually just becomes easier to give in to the demands of the narcissist. Being subjected to this day in and day out wears us down mentally, spiritually, and physically. However, this overwhelm and complete defeat that we feel makes it easier for the narcissist to infect us with their self-defeating and self-sabotaging programs. Our perceptions about who we truly are become distorted. That is one of the reasons that when we get out of these relationships, we don't know who we are. We feel lost, and our authentic identity has been smothered or destroyed. Narcissists are proficient at producing confusion and inner chaos in their victims, constantly questioning themselves, questioning if their interpretation of reality is accurate. They criticize and humiliate us and every decision we make so often, so relentlessly, that sometimes we give up our own free will, or at least a big part of it. It just becomes easier to give in to the will of the narcissist because fighting them or trying to rationalize with them is pointless and usually results in us being further abused. Unfortunately, this will result in us internalizing our abuser's voice, actually believing the names that they call us, believing we are less than, too damaged or too stupid to make it in life without them. We don't realize that we feel like this because of the abusive environment that we have been living in. We don't realize there is nothing wrong with us, but something very wrong with our partner or parent or whoever the narcissist is in your life. And this is the goal of the abuser, to cause your identity and self-worth to diminish into nothing. This can end in the victim's complete dependence on their abuser. That way, you will be a psychological slave to them indefinitely. So, how do they accomplish this? In the beginning, it usually starts off in an innocent manner. Put-downs and insults disguised as jokes, degrading passive-aggressive insults, but presented in a joking manner. If we bring it up, we are told we are just too sensitive and they were just joking. Lighten up. They are slowly pushing our boundaries as we put up with this more and more and more, and as it increases in cruelty. Eventually, this becomes flat-out emotional and verbal abuse. They no longer disguise the abuse as funny or just sarcastic. Other tactics they use to accomplish their dominance and control over our lives and clear thinking is stonewalling, isolation, gaslighting, triangulation, projection, deflection, victim blaming and shaming, terrorizing, withholding love and affection, rage, intimidation, bullying, among so many other things. As this abuse progresses, they start rewriting history, telling you versions of history that you know are not true, possibly in the beginning. But as you are subjected to more and more of these distorted versions of history, you become confused. Again, we are usually completely unaware of what's going on and are still under the belief this person loves us. Usually we have no idea there are people in this world who would do something like this to another human being, let alone someone we are extremely close to. Unfortunately, as this progresses, we may come to see our abuser as our hero, our savior, our rescuer, who we are indebted to. Alienating parents use these exact tactics on their children. We know as adults how debilitating and confusing it is to be subjected to these mind games and manipulations. Children are completely defenseless and are dependent on their abusers for survival. So in closing, these are the basics that they use to gain control over our lives, over our perceptions, and our beliefs. Over time, we become dependent on them to know what we think or believe. When we start to become aware that something is wrong, when we witness words and actions not aligning, or when we see things with our own eyes but are told we did not see what we saw, that is the beginning of what I call the awakening. And the longer you have been subjected to these abuse tactics of the narcissist, the harder you will have to fight for your full awakening. You are going to struggle with cognitive dissonance, going back and forth between, could this actually be? Is this really abuse? Is he or she a narcissist? Is it really that bad? Maybe I'm the narcissist. What if all this really is in my head as they have told me it is? Maybe this is my fault, and on and on. This is what cognitive dissonance sounds like, and it plays some dirty, dirty tricks on your mind and on your thought process. The awakening is a process. It is not an event. It will require commitment and perseverance. You will need lots of support from people who understand what you are going through. It will take lots of education, and it will take an absolute commitment to getting back in touch with your intuition, your inner guidance, and your gut instincts. And again, this is a process, an up and down journey. The awakening stage is not an event. I wish it were. My awakening took 2 solid years. My circumstances were very severe, and this had been happening to me my entire life. Truthfully, I might have never known the reality except for the fact that they started doing this to my only child, and that forced me to dig and fight for the right answers. It's kind of sad that I never had enough self-love or trust to do this for myself, because being subjected to narcissistic abuse my entire life robbed me of those gifts. Thank God for the unconditional love I had for my child, which pushed and propelled me into the determination that was needed to find the right answers. I was not going to stop until I found the answers to what was happening, and I hope you all have the self-worth and determination to see yourselves through this, because you are worth it, and life on the other side is beautiful. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. Also follow me on Instagram. The link is in the description below. Thanks for watching, everyone.